Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today I'm going to recap a movie titled Race, which is a 2016 biographical sports drama film about an American athlete, Jesse Owens. So, let's get into the movie. In the beginning of the movie, we see Jesse Owens getting ready to go to his college. His mother gives him an expensive coat, after which he leaves and meets his dad. Jesse gives his father money and tells him everything is going to be fine. The scene shifts and we see Larry, whose student loses the race, making him failure as a coach during recent competitions. Larry goes to meet the losing player and tells him he lost due to his thinking and is criticized by other fellow coaches. He is also criticized on the radio for his continuous failures. A colleague woman shows him some new athlete students where he sees Jesse and looks impressed by him. On the other hand, we see Jesse, who meets his girlfriend Ruth and daughter before leaving and tells his girlfriend that he'll keep sending money to them. After reaching the college, Larry keeps observing Jesse. In the morning, white people stop them from having a bath at the same time with them passing racist comments. Jesse's friend Dave gets angry on them, but he makes them understand that it's their only chance to prove themselves, and it should not be wasted for such things. Larry calls Jesse to meet him. Jesse reaches his office and meets Larry. Larry tells him that he knows his potential and whether he is ready to win gold medals or not, and motivates him to forget about the racial differences. Larry tells him that if he wants to win Olympic gold medals, he'll have to work hard for this with Larry. Next, we see Larry having trials of Jesse and is completely shocked to see him finish 100 meters in 9.3 seconds. Larry tells his fellow coach that if he works on his start, he can be the 1936 Olympic champion. The scene shifts to a New York hotel where people are protesting against participation in Olympic Games. We see a person named Avery in American Olympic Association where he argues with all members that just by believing the rumors on Germany's situation, they can't keep their athletes avoided of the Olympics and they need champions right now. He is told that the Germans have removed their Jew athletes and also don't want Negroes to participate in Olympics, and they have no other option except to boycott for that. At the end, they all decide to send Avery to negotiate with German Olympic authorities. Avery reaches Germany and visits the construction site of Olympic ground. On the way, he sees that the situation of Germany is very miserable. He goes to the place of meeting where he meets Miss Leni Riefenstahl, who is making a film about Olympics. Avery meets Dr. Goebbels and tells him that he knows they want to show the world their evil policies through Olympics by removing Jews and Negroes from the competition, and he will not let this happen. The meeting ends with a deal that they'll let Jews and Negroes participate if Avery ensures the support of America. The scene shifts and we see that Larry was training his students and he tells them to run like a plane, slow at the beginning and fly at the end. After that, Jesse is bullied by white players on the ground, which affects his performance. Later in the locker room, they are again bullied, but Larry helps them by telling them to ignore such people as they only make noise. After that, we see that Jesse gets injured while partying with his friends. Larry comes to meet him and tells him that he has 3 days to recover. Next, Jesse is seen in Ann Arbor competition, where he goes to Larry, who asks him to skip the competition, but Jesse denies doing so. Firstly, he sets a world record in 100 meters race, and then sets the record in long jump competition by marking the opponent's score with the help of a handkerchief. He sets the third record in 250 meters hurdle race. Larry gets very excited seeing him win. On the way back to Columbus, Larry appreciates him for breaking his record and for his brilliant performance in the competition. Later, he tells him about his opponents in next competition, but Jesse doesn't listen to him carefully. After reaching back, Jesse goes to a party with his friends where he meets Quincella, who forces him to dance with her. After the party, he goes with Quincella to her hotel, where he comes to know that a newspaper has published false news about him and Ruth. Ruth gets very upset. Jesse tries to contact her, but fails to talk to her. In the next competition, Jesse loses to Euless Peacock due to stress. Larry comes to meet him to discuss the reason that he lost. Larry tells him that he has a daughter who is going to turn 18, and his wife has separated from him as it was difficult for him to manage both house and ground. After that, Jesse leaves Quincella and tells Larry that he wants to meet Ruth, and asks her to marry him, but she rejects him. He keeps waiting for the whole day outside the salon in the rain, and finally manages to get a yes from her, and happily goes to make arrangements for the marriage. On the other hand, Avery wins the vote for participation in Olympics. Jesse and Ruth get married, and as they return home, a member from black community has come to meet him. He asks Jesse not to participate under Hitler's regime due to his extremist behavior for Negroes. A quick reminder, before we continue our review of this movie, if you enjoyed the video so far, please consider subscribing as we frequently upload such informative and entertaining videos. Now let's continue. Jesse's father tells him to follow his heart. Jesse tells them all that on the field there is no racial or color-based discrimination, and those moments make him feel alive and free. Jesse then takes Ruth to Larry and tells him that he is not going to participate. Larry gets angry and gets into an argument which hurts Jesse a lot, and he leaves. At night, Larry attempts to make a high jump, but gets his ankle broken. In the morning, he goes to meet Jesse with his broken ankle and asks him to at least participate in trials, otherwise he'll have to regret it for the rest of his life. Jesse makes his place in Olympics, and during the conference sees Ulysses Peacock. After the conference, he meets Ulysses, who tells him that he's out of the Olympics due to the injury, but he wants Jesse to go and prove himself in front of Hitler. Later at night, Jesse gets very afraid that if he loses in front of Hitler, he'll get his nation insulted, as his family and coach will not be there to support him. Next, Dr. Goebbels gets into an argument with Miss Riefenstahl, who tells him that she'll work under no restrictions. On the boat, when Jesse was standing alone, Larry comes there and tells him that he's coming unofficially. American players reach Germany. Jesse reaches there and feels very confident after finding no racial or color discrimination among players. He finds that the players are very cooperative. Jesse starts practicing, but during that, he argues with his new coach to get Larry back, but instead he was able to get Larry a VIP seat. Larry goes to find the shoes he ordered for Jesse, but instead walks into German soldiers and hardly manages to make them understand that he is looking for shoes factory. Next, we see that Jesse wins a gold medal in 100 meters men race. Larry meets him and congratulates him for his first success. Avery then comes there to meet him and takes him to see Hitler, but he is told that it's impossible to happen. Avery gets angry and takes Jesse back with him. In the next competition, his opponent Luz long sets a difficult score in long jump, but Jesse manages to qualify to the finals after making 2 fouls. Luz helps him by keeping his white towel as a mark to help Jesse. In the finals, Jesse wins the gold medal in the long jump, and Luz asks him for a pride walk on ground. Hitler and Dr. Goebbels get shocked after watching Luz with Jesse. Later at night, Jesse goes to Luz's room to share drinks with him. Luz tells him about his country and tells that a woman was sent to get pregnant by him that he didn't like at all. Then he changes the topic and asks Jesse to win the 3rd gold medal to make him feel proud. In the next competition of 200 meters men's race, Miss Riefenstahl is not allowed to record the race, but despite that, she goes on to record the competition on her own, which the German officials do not like. In the 200-meter race, Jesse again wins the gold medal. Jesse's family and Larry get very excited for his success in all 3 competitions. After that, Jesse goes to meet Larry, who tells him about his story, how he missed his opportunity and has been regretting his whole life as his father told him. Avery is called by German officials, who ask him to remove Jewish athletes from the next competition. Avery, left with no other choice, goes and talks to the team. He wants to replace Mac and Sam with Jesse and Dave. Jesse denies doing so, saying that he'll not participate until Mac and Sam ask him to do it. Later that night, Sam and Mac come to Jesse's room and ask him to win the competition at any cost for them. Next day, Jesse and his team win the competition and Hitler walks out after watching them celebrate their success. Luz also comes there and celebrates with them. Jesse hugs Larry, who gets very emotional at that moment and enjoys it with the boys. Later, Miss Riefenstahl comes to meet Jesse and asks him to perform jumps again so that she can record it and the world may know him for what he did. At the end, we see the real Jesse Owens, whose success was not given any importance, and after years of unemployment, he managed to get a job of a janitor. His achievements were remembered after 25 years when his records were broken. Luz and his friendship lasted for a long time until Luz died. Larry gets his wife back. Larry and Jesse are with their wives when the security guard doesn't allow Jesse to enter from the main gate and is asked to enter from the service portion. Larry argues, but in vain. Jesse goes through the service gate where he kisses his wife in a lift, and the movie ends here. If you already watched this movie, share your reviews with us in the comments below. Before you go, make sure to like this video and share it with your friends who are into drama, comedy, and crime fiction movies. Thank you for watching.